This is Inspiring Design, where unique innovators come together to share their knowledge, share their insight, and keep us up to date with the latest industry trends. And here's your host, Roshan Senanayake.
What's up, listeners? Welcome to a brand new episode of Inspiring Design Season 2. I'm your host, Roshan Senanayake, and Season 2 is all about the student's point of view. And today is obviously no exception to that. We're design thinking our way through education and design, featuring students from all over Australia in various subject areas, disciplines, and stages in their education and professional career. So to kick things off today, I have here with me an awesome guest, Alma Yulianisa. She's 24, was a transfer student from the international program of University of Indonesia, graduated in 2018 from her Bachelor in Architecture from KUT, and now currently working at Mode Design as an architecture student. But she's actually not here to talk about those career aspirations. She's actually here to talk about some amazing work she's done in Bali, Indonesia. While working in Brisbane, she's managed to get 2 projects built, one in residential already finished, and a second villa project currently in construction, all the while working here in Brisbane. So that's some amazing work, and I want a lot of students to be able to learn from this as well as learn from her experience of achieving these goals. So let's get right into it. Welcome to the show, Alma.
Hello.
Can we start off with a little bit of background and history of what's your story leading up to this point?
My story, so I grew up in Indonesia, and then I got to University of Indonesia, got into the international program doing the architecture. Mm-hmm. So it was like a 2 years program, like 2 years in Indonesia and 2 years at KUT doing the architecture. So I didn't plan at all to actually live in Australia or having a full-on career in Australia, but it just happened after I graduated from KUT. Mm-hmm.
That's cool. And are you planning on doing your master's in Australia?
Yeah, so I am actually, because I'm having a year break kind of thing to work at Mode as an architecture student. So I guess experience first will be good before you do your master's degree. Yeah. And that's why I'm doing my master's next year after 1 year being at Mode in architecture firm.
Yeah, awesome. That's pretty cool. And obviously Mode's a very good design. There's a couple of one of my good friends actually working at Mode as well. And obviously working here and getting a project built in Bali. Yeah. How did that happen? So what's the name of the projects?
So the first one, because it's just a house, I would say I don't call it any particular name, but it's just a Bali house project, I guess. Yep. And so I got offered this project because at one point I was already at Mode, working, and then one of my friends contacted me saying "Hey Alma, do you want to? My auntie wants to build a house in Bali. Mm-hmm. Do you think that you can design it?" I mean, I've got a couple messages like this before. Yeah. It would just...
It happens when you're an architecture student. Your aunties and uncles and family members go, "Oh, can you design me my gazebo or, carport or this little holiday house?" And so I get that, Yeah,
and they never happened anyway. And they're probably my friends that just graduated from uni as well. "Alma, I want to build a house and can you build it?" I'm like, but they actually didn't want to build it. They just want to see their dream house or something like that. But I thought it was kind of something that was not serious at first. Mm-hmm. And then I was like, "Yeah, sure." And she was like, "Okay, perfect. Can my auntie transfer the money to you right now before you design it?" and stuff like that. So I'm like, "Oh, wow, this is some serious stuff." Yeah. So I'm like, "Okay, hold on. I'm just gonna design it first. Have the concept ready and everything, and then I'll show it to you, and if you like it, then you could transfer me the money." I said. And then she was like, "Yeah, perfect." And then first concept that I sent off to her, she liked it, and we just kind of like
Went
just
from there.
Yeah.
Wow. So how did you know how much to charge them? Because as a student, you don't really do that.
I didn't. Yeah, I didn't know at all how much. And then at first she was like, "Oh, do you know like how much would it be for a house?" I don't. I was like, I had no idea about that because like, how much does it usually cost you at work? I'm like, at work.
From Mode.
From Mode.
Wow.
And then I was like, oh, but at Mode, you know, you design, of course, some big project with like 25 people in one project and stuff like that. So I can't really compare the two. So I was just kind of like comparing my price to the architects in Indonesia. And I think she got offered by an architect in Indonesia to build her house. But I think she wanted some kind of like overseas perspective.
Yeah,
kinda
I
like
mean, it'll sell
Australian.
well, and the fact that it's been designed overseas.
Yeah, and then like something like, because I graduated from QUT in Australia, and she just wanted something unique in Australia that's never been thought about by Indonesian architects, probably. So yeah, that's my selling point, I guess.
Yeah.
But then at first I was like, because it's my first project, you don't know what's gonna happen. I don't even know if the project's gonna go well or not. So I'm like, you can just give me however much that she wanted me, that she wanted to pay me, kind of thing. So yeah.
Yeah, look, that's fair enough. And what about the villa project, which is, I believe it came off the back of this one?
Yeah. So the house is actually the second option. At first, she actually wanted me. She actually wanted me to design a villa, which I did design it for her. And then she was like, actually, I wanted to build a house in Bali first. Can you just do the house first? And then I did the house. The house is built, and it was just amazing to see, like, even though I haven't been to Bali to see the actual project by myself, but it was just amazing to see the pictures what I once sketched on the paper got built on like real life and actually in human scale. It's just kind of like amazing to see that. And then after she sent me some progress photos of the pictures of the house getting done, I was like, okay, now the house is done. Can you please do the villa now? We're just gonna go build the foundation in the next 2 weeks. I was like,
wow.
Okay, I'm just gonna do it then. So,
wow. So is there a name for this villa?
Yes, it's called Yori Villas.
Okay, Yuri Villas, and it's located in
Kerobokan, Bali.
Okay, I can't pronounce that, but that sounds really cool.
Kerobokan,
Yeah, so I think a lot of Australians love Bali and visit there on holidays. So I think check that out, guys. Like you've heard her mention the name, and we'll have those details in the show notes as well.
Yes.
So that sounds pretty cool. I really want to check it out myself, actually.
Yeah. Yes, please.
So tell me a little bit about how the journey has been like going through those projects. Let's start off with the residential one. I'm assuming it was a roller coaster ride for you.
Yeah.
What were the ups and the downs going through the project?
It was very kind of like stressful, as in like when you were at uni, because at work you were sometimes like, because I'm an architecture student, you're kind of like given a task to do, and you're like, this is how we do things, blah blah blah. But like this is your own design, so you can do anything to it, make the bedroom a little bit bigger and the bathroom a little bit smaller. It's just kind of like pretty stressful, but it was kind of just like at uni, really. When you're doing a project, you will be but then I chose the architectural part anyway, so like,
so did you actually go through a very similar process to doing an assignment here?
Yes.
Yeah, wow.
That's very interesting, right? And I was like, I mean, like the concept design first, you make that.
So is that hand-drawn?
Hand-drawn, yeah.
Yep.
And then you kind of like adjust things around, and then kind of like mark it up yourself, because there's no tutor there.
Of course.
Yeah, and then but yeah, it was really good, because at uni people would be like, design things, but that they won't get built. And then I remember one of the tutors advised to just draw the grid first and draw the where the columns are gonna be, and then you'll be sweet from there. And that's exactly what I did, and that's how it's kind of like built and everything. So it was just pretty much like uni. It was really good though, good experience.
That's excellent. And they gave you the clients gave you feedback at every point whenever you send stuff through?
Yes.
Okay.
And surprisingly, like, you know how people would be giving to the clients and the clients want the other way, but like I feel like me and my client right now have like the same perspective, and she just literally always kind of like there's always just a little bit changes, but not too much really. She just agreed to whatever that I suggested should be done.
That's good. Excellent. And what kind of tools did you use? Was it modeled in Revit?
Yeah. Okay, so I've got my Revit on my MacBook with the windows and everything set up. So and then the joining it's really hard because sometimes I'm at work and they will be like, "Hey, Alma, can I have this drawing, like the detail of the stairs?" Something like that. I'm like, oh my god. And then because I always have to bring my laptop to work, and then sometimes I was gonna go have lunch with my friend, and then I was like, sorry, I can't. And then I just went to the kitchen having my lunch with the laptop open. I got a 1 hour lunch break. I just like did it really
between
quickly.
Working,
like sort it out, send it, and she was like, okay. Like, so it was pretty much every lunch break that I would open my laptop and kind of like refine some things, the size of the windows or something like that. It's just, even in the weekends, after work as well. It's a busy one, but I mean, if you like it, if you're passionate about architecture or like building stuff, then I'm sure like that won't be a problem for you at all.
That's the thing. It was actually going towards my next question. How do you manage that while working here and just the sheer time? Now, what was the project timeline end to end? Like, how long did the whole process take from your point of view?
The whole process of designing. The design itself, because even at uni, I'm I'd say a quick designer. I'd say I'd just be like, okay, this is that done kind of thing. Move forward, and then develop from there, from the basics. So I would say everything like compact. Are you asking about the compact?
Yeah, like the entire timeline. Was it a couple of months? Was it a year and a half? Like how long? When you first started the project to construction, what was that timeline?
Right. So like the design would take about like 2 weeks or a month for the design itself. But then there will be a RFI throughout like the months that it got built. And then like a month later, they will ask about like, where would the electricity go? Where's the power points and the lights go? I'm like, and then I'll work on that again for like a week. And then the next 2 weeks, they'll be asking about some interiors, and then that I will go into interior stuff like fit outs and.
So you actually handled the entire project yourself. Pretty incredible. Well done.
Thank you. But I did everything. Sometimes I was like, I didn't think that I could be doing the interiors, but I mean, you just gotta like throw yourself into it until you can do it, right? And that's exactly what true. I did.
Did it feel like you were jumping in the deep end? Okay.
I feel like I didn't know anything about building a house. I just did it anyway.
And how did you manage that? Like having that feeling, but still making sure that you can do, because obviously I'm sure there's so many students out there or young designers that would have the same fear. How did you overcome that?
Well, I feel like, I don't know. I feel like because like so many people, not many people, got this opportunity. Some people be architects, have 10 years of experience, and no one asked them for work, and no one asked them to build a house. For the clients and stuff, I feel like this is a very good opportunity that I will have to face, kind of thing.
So you didn't want to let this opportunity slip by?
Yes.
It doesn't matter how much it scared you, you want to do it. You wanted to do it. That's excellent. Excellent. And so obviously, they're given the target audience of who listens to what you're saying, we get a lot of students and teachers and educators.
Yeah.
What's your advice for students, especially going through design units? If they get presented with these opportunities, what were the do's and don'ts? What would you firstly advise them to go through projects like this?
I would actually. Like I would don't be scared at all to anything that's offered to you on the table.
Yeah.
I think they got offered to you for a reason. Like your clients obviously believe that you could do it, and I mean like you're right, university.
Yeah.
It's not like you just graduate middle school and like not knowing about a house and like how to design stuff kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I feel like you've got a lot of source, like go ask around about like to the people around you how to actually build it or something. Yeah,
definitely. And I went through a similar experience where I think it was in third year from memory, where one of my really good friends asked me to complete the DA application for one of his renovations projects. And he was a simple Queenslander, and he was cutting the house in half and raising it and putting a floor underneath.
Yeah.
And he wanted me to just document and design how I wanted to do it.
Yeah.
And obviously, similar to yourself, he was a very easygoing client, a good friend, and it was almost like working with mates. And I believe I actually spoke to one of your senior architects at Mode for some advice back then. And just to understand, do exactly what you just said, to go and talk to people, find information, and understand how to price it, what do I need to look for it, what are the liability issues, how should I handle this, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But looking back, I'm so happy that I went through that project, somehow managed it. Because why would you pass up that opportunity?
Exactly.
And looking back, seeing every time I drive past that house in Northgate, I can say that it's actually one of my designs being built.
Exactly, yeah.
So that's incredible.
The feeling would like overweigh the amount of money that you offered.
Oh, definitely.
That you get.
What about the don'ts? What are the mistakes that you would share with the listeners on not to do and to be careful of, or to things to look out for if they got presented an opportunity like this?
So don't run away from it.
Okay. Yep.
Because I don't know,
just go all in.
Just go all in.
Yep.
Because I feel like you'll figure it out once you're in there, what to do and what not to do. I think everyone's experience is different. Of course, I would do the things that they wouldn't ever do. I procrastinate a lot.
Okay.
I
love the honesty.
Yes. So when they're asking for stairs, for example, I could have done these details once I was designing it, right? I could just send it off to them, or the electricity line, or where the lights will go. I could have done it in the first place and just send it off, and never having to have the pressure in lunch breaks to do it. But I just left it, and they will ask anyway, or they would do it, and then leaving it to the last minute, I guess. But I know that some people would just do it in the beginning and just be relaxing throughout all the projects, I guess, just the small RFIs.
I think that's the difference. I think every single person has their own working style and time management.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
that'll allow people to, I think, if they're last minute, they can do those things if they like to plan ahead. But I think the biggest hurdle is, as a student, you may not know what's required next.
Yeah.
So it's almost the first project, I feel like you may have to wait, but the second one, you know what's going to come in.
Yeah.
So you can almost pre-plan.
Yeah.
If you're ahead,
that's right.
Do it. If not, do what you did.
That's totally right.
That's awesome. So I think going through this project, what's your next step? Are you looking for more work in Bali to keep doing as a side thing, to keep building and designing more villas, or are you going to design some villas here in Brisbane?
Because the construction is very different. Construction way of Australian standards and Indonesian standards.
Yeah.
They're very different. Well, in Indonesia, I could just ask my mom, because apparently, so my parents built a house to get their first house. They built it, right? My mom drew it by hand, kind of oh, this is how it is. So my mom kind of probably know which comes first, and like that way I have like some information in Indonesian construction. While in Australia, I guess like I'll wait a bit for like projects in Australia because like the construction way is like so different.
Yeah.
But I would be keen to take other side projects, I guess.
Yeah.
Because like at work you learn so much about project management, about the software, and about the whole thing to run a company, right?
Yep.
But like your side projects, like to me, it's kind of like more fun in a way.
Because you get to explore and find your own passion, your own design styles. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly, and you can do whatever you want with it.
Yeah.
So I feel like I would be down for some more projects. So yeah, let's see how I got it anyway.
Amazing work, Alma, and seriously, thank you so much. Do you have any last advice or tips and tricks that the listeners can follow, whether they're students or teachers, in the learning from the experience that you've gone through? Do you have any last advice?
My last advice, believe in yourself. That's one thing that's like a very strong thing to do. I think you just gotta believe that you can do it.
Yep.
If you don't, then who else is gonna believe in what you could do next, really?
Yep.
And if you can dream it, then just go follow your dreams.
I love that. Love
Go
that.
ahead.
Well said. Thank you so much, Alma, for giving up your time. And
Thank you.
that's it for today, folks. And before we leave, I want to give a shout out to Lexi95, 3 Ys, a really cool username, for their 5-star rating of the podcast on Apple Podcasts. Lexi95 says, a must listen for architects everywhere. Rashan was my tutor during my bachelor degree. He's an authentic and passionate teacher who has supported me throughout the tertiary studies and into my professional career. Finding a teacher who is invested in and really cares about your professional development is hard to find. His dedication to students and this podcast is inspiring, and I'm so excited to see where Rashan's passion in teaching and inspiring new professionals takes him next. Lexi, thank you so much for sharing the love and your kind words. And to everyone else, if you'd like your words to be read out across listeners from about 14 countries, jump online and leave a review on Apple Podcasts and share your love. I will make sure to read it personally myself and respond to every single message personally. Alma's projects and the photos from it are actually in the show notes as well. So jump on to rashansenanaika.com/podcast and click on her image, and you'll be able to find details of the progress and the details of Alma's projects. If you want to learn more as well, reach out to Alma on Facebook and LinkedIn and learn more about how she's done some amazing work in Bali, Indonesia, while being a student and working here in Brisbane. So amazing work. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me.